So who the wants JJ McCarthy? It is Monday, so we are back with another mock draft. How's everybody doing? How's everybody's weeks? Mine was good. I just did some stuff. I had a pretty good weekend. It's never long enough, but you know how that goes. You only get 2 days, and then you got to work 5. So in my free time, I do stuff like this for you guys. But with all that being said, this is going to be a predictive mock, no trades, although kind of makes me sad not doing trades. But we're not going to do trades because, you know, things are going to happen. We're about to find out who's getting franchise tagged, who's not getting franchise tagged. I talked about that a little bit here and there, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But let's go ahead and get into the mock draft because I really wanted to do one where we kept Justin Fields for the Bears, but not this one. Maybe in the next one. So pick 1. We're going with Caleb Williams. I will do a mock where I do what I would do based on my big board and what I think if I was the GM of every team, but that's not today. So stay tuned for that one. Like, comment, subscribe. You'll find out when it comes out. Turn the notifications on. Pick 2 is Washington. We're gonna make some slight changes at the top, but we're keeping it within the realm of possibility. With that being said, pick 2. They moved them so far down the draft board I couldn't even find them at first. Jayden Daniels to the Washington Commanders. Pick 3. You're not trading that. You're not gonna bring in Russ. You're not gonna get Bo Nix. You're gonna stick and pick, and you're gonna take who I think is the best. I think he's the best quarterback in the class. Argue with the brick. I'm just kidding. I'll hear you out. I mean, like Caleb is that guy. That's not what I'm saying, but I think Drake May is also that guy. There are just things that Caleb has done, which is just like, oh my God, he's him. But there's also, I mean, I'm not going to get into the whole. This is the thing I've been seeing on Twitter and what I've been seeing by ESPN and what I've been seeing by Bucky Brooks and what I've been seeing by these couch GMs. They'll point out like, oh my God, did you see that Drake May's foot was a little bit to the right, so therefore his footwork is terrible and he's going to be a bust in the NFL? That's like not how this works. I was talking to a buddy about this. There is one player that going back, I could make the argument for 2, but there is one player that I could think of in the past 12 years that when he came out of college, it was what you see is what you get. This is the NFL quarterback you were going to get from day one. And that is Andrew Luck. Other than that, these are prospects that have flaws. Like you could say Drake May's footwork is trash. Caleb Williams doesn't play well within structure. That's what coaching is for, bro. Like you don't just go into the NFL and you don't come from college and you're this perfect gem of a prospect that you don't need to coach anymore. The only argument I can make is Andrew Luck because he took that 2-win Colts team to the playoffs in 1 year. Like that does not happen. So if you're going to nitpick and say, oh, you can't draft Jayden Daniels, he takes too many hits, he doesn't throw it with anticipation over the middle of the field, then like you might as well not draft anybody. You should just never draft a quarterback and only you either wait for your Andrew Luck, and by that time, if you're a GM, you're fired, or you bank on a quarterback who didn't work out and is now in free agency, a la Russell Wilson. Or Kirk, who just blew out his Achilles. So, I mean, since I've been doing this, I should have done it in the 2021 draft with Trevor Lawrence, but I didn't. But since I started in 2022, this is the best quarterback class I've seen yet. Like I think the 3 at the top are really, really good. If you watched any of my content from last year, I did not like Bryce Young. If I was the Panthers, being that I moved all my chips in, I would have drafted Anthony Richardson, but Stroud was my QB1 after the Georgia game, and if you go way back to the beginning of draft season of last year, I didn't like Stroud, but you have to be able to adapt. And these 3 quarterbacks, I've been higher on Jayden Daniels for a long time. Go check my Twitter. It's right there. Go check my Twitter. I've been high on Jayden Daniels for a lot longer than a lot of these people doing this. This quarterback class is really, really good. And now we're getting to the point where there's fatigue. It's called prospect fatigue. It's literally a real thing where people get tired of talking about these prospects, so they try to find flaws in them that they didn't see when they were riding them a month ago. Like, all of a sudden Drake May might fall to 15. Like, get the out of here with that. That's not even realistic. Anyway, pick 4, Marvin Harrison. Some people, again, with prospect fatigue, people are starting to mock Malik Neighbors over Marvin Harrison, and it's like, you will not find a bigger Malik Neighbors fan than me. But that is insane. That's fucking insane. I don't care what anybody says. That's insane. Pick 5 is the Chargers. This is where we're going to deviate from what we've done prior. I don't think this is what's going to happen, but I'm keeping it within the realm of possibility. We're going to have the Chargers take Malik Neighbors because they're probably cutting Mike Williams. I think of all the people they can cut, I saw Joey Bosa might get cut or traded. I think they'll keep Keenan. They have negative $45 million in cap space, so the Chargers got to make moves. Mike Williams coming off the ACL tear, he seems like, yeah, this makes sense. But you have Josh Palmer, who I'm a big fan of Josh Palmer. And you hope to see some return on investment from Quentin Johnston. And I think that Greg Roman and even Jim Harbaugh going back to Michigan, like, he's always running out of jumbo sets. And they always have good tight end play. The knock where you kind of are like, maybe they'll pass on Bowers, which I get, which is why I think they're going to actually take, it's either going to be Bowers or Joe Alt, in my opinion, or trade back for the Chargers. Brock Bowers is not the best blocker, and he's kind of small. But, like, again, I've made the case, like, I'm not moving Brock Bowers out of the top 10 because he looked small next to Rob Gronkowski. That's insane. He dominated the SEC since he was 18 years old. Miss me with that. That's how people lose their jobs, is they see pictures like that and they forget everything else and just go, oh my God, why would I draft Brock Bowers? He's small next to Rob Gronkowski. We can't draft him anymore. Like, that literally happens. It's so stupid, and I'm laughing, but it literally happens. Okay, Giants at 6. I'm a Giants fan. So who the f*** wants J.J. McCarthy? Because if this is the case for the Giants at pick 6, I probably do something I can't say on camera. I'm just kidding. Tune into the live stream on draft night. But pick 6 of the Giants. If this is how the board unfolds, I'm not taking... I love Rome Odunze. I truly do. I've talked about him in every video. I can't justify taking wide receiver 3 at 6. And it's not just like, oh, the value thing. It's more of like, I'd rather take Joe Alt, but we hope to see a return on investment in Evan Neal under Carmen Brasillo, or whatever his name is, the O-line coach from the Raiders, who revamped that O-line in 1 year. I don't know if they want Brock Bowers. I personally, as a Giants fan, have no problem taking Brock Bowers here. But Joe Schoen has made it very clear he understands the importance of a wide receiver 1. He saw it in Buffalo with Josh Allen. He tried to get a wide receiver last year. There's the clip of him getting all pissed off when Jordan Addison gets drafted to the Vikings. And then they said that their last first-round grade player was Deonte Banks, who they traded up one spot for, which is why I tweeted this scenario out. I think the Giants are in play to trade up at 5 for Malik Neighbors if they think he's that good. I think they will do it. And like I said, the Chargers being in a Greg Roman regime now, and Jim Harbaugh, who love tight ends, why not trade back at one spot and get your guy and draft capital? It makes sense to me. So if this is how the board turns out, I do think, this is a predicted mock, I do think the Giants will take Rome Odunze, personally. I will be heartbroken. I will be really sad. You will be able to see the reaction on draft night during the live stream. It's my favorite day of the year. And it's either going to be a really good reaction or a really bad reaction. And tune in. So, pick 7 is Titans. This is where we're going to go back to normal. Joe Alt. I think Brock Bowers is actually a very interesting pick. But I think the Titans need to build this from ground zero. You hope Will Levis could be the guy. I like Will Levis, personally. I don't think he'll be anything great, but I would build the team this year and see what you could get. Unless, like, you love J.J. McCarthy, who... Yeah, unless you love J.J. McCarthy, but I just think it's fascinating that J.J. McCarthy literally went from the most underrated, overhated prospect to the most overrated prospect in literally 7 days. People are calling him QB2 now behind Caleb Williams. That's how, J.J. went from a top 40 selection to QB2, and I'm not kidding. 7 days. Literally 7 days. That's crazy. That is so crazy. Pick 8 is Atlanta. I've gone defense here, but I actually really like JJ here because I'm high on JJ. I've made my case in 2 videos now. I am higher on JJ McCarthy than a lot of people, but I actually don't know if I can say that anymore because people have him as QB2 now. Like, I was cool with JJ when it was like, yeah, I think he's a top 15 pick. I could see him squeaking into the top 5 because of QB value, but now it's like people got him at QB2, so I don't know where I fall. I'm in the middle of the pack, I guess, i.e. planet Earth. But anyway, I like JJ. I think JJ actually would be phenomenal in the Atlanta offense because they have the offensive line, they have the run game. I'm a huge Drake London fan. I think Drake London is actually the most disrespected, underrated wide receiver in the entire NFL. And I will die for Kyle Pitts. So you have those things that you kind of had, like JJ had at Michigan. You have good tight end play, with Jonnu Smith included. You have Drake London, who could be that Roman Wilson in this offense. You have Bijan. Not saying they're going to mold their offense around Michigan, but like their head, I'm blanking on his name, but I really liked the hire. I was a big fan of this hire because there were so many players, and I think this is important. There were so many players that went to bat for this coach, who I'm totally blanking on the name. But he comes from the Rams system, and then they bring over the Rams, I believe it was their pass game coordinator, to be their offensive coordinator. And I've said, I like JJ to the Rams. I think he's going to do really well in a system like that. And if they're going to put that system in Atlanta with top tier, in my opinion, talent at wide receiver, running back, and tight end, I don't see why JJ shouldn't go to Atlanta. I think, like I said, with the Giants, of who the fuck wants JJ, I think they would definitely trade up to 6 for him. Because you don't want to risk someone trading up to 7 for him. Or trading up to 6 for him. Because you could have the Vikings do that. You could have the Broncos do that. So, but we're not trading. So, all that, yeah. Chicago at pick 9. This one was a little bit tough for me because I thought, like, I kind of think it would be cool. Like, usually we go Romo Dunze here. Brock Bowers, you signed Cole Kmet. I think Brock Bowers is leagues ahead of Cole Kmet. I'm not a Cole Kmet fan. Never have been. He's never been on any of my fantasy teams unless I absolutely needed him and picked him up on waivers. But I'm not basing this off fantasy. I just want to throw that out there so you get a little flavor of my scope. Pick 9. I think that if you were not taking a receiver, edge or Byron Murphy is the play. You have Montez Sweat, who you traded for in that second round pick. But you have, you don't really have that guy on the interior or the other side. I believe it's the right side because Montez Sweat plays, Montez Sweat plays right end, right? Or I got it backwards. I don't remember. But you need that guy who's going to play opposite of Montez Sweat. And then you have, what's his name? Like Justin Houston in the interior. He's hot garbage. So that's why I was like, maybe we go Byron Murphy here. But I think the best prospect for the 2 positions is Dallas Turner. I think Dallas Turner is a tremendous athlete. And I think that he's actually a prospect who's, I mean, look at the first 8 picks so far. Offense. Or defense. I don't think that Dallas Turner is the 9th best player in this draft. I think that he's falling because of team needs from the teams ahead of him, but there is really high top-end talent, offensive talent at the top. 3 great quarterback prospects that you're not going to pass on. A 4th great quarterback prospect or good quarterback prospect you're not going to pass on. I think JJ would be a great quarterback prospect if he had the chance to play in an offense that asked him to throw more, but they didn't. And I don't think that's an indictment on him because, again, it goes back to when you watch the film and you watch people talk about him who know what they're talking about, who know what they're looking at, who could break down a play on film. JJ's IQ and his ability to make plays, it's there. It's all there. He just didn't have to do it because they had the best rushing offense in all of college football and had Blake Corum, who's one of the best running backs in college football. I don't know if he'll translate to the NFL, but I don't think that's an indictment on JJ. Not to go back. We're on the Bears. So Bears fans, come back to me. I didn't lose you. Come back. But Dallas Turner, I don't think he's the 9th best player in the draft. I truly don't. I think he kind of gets lost in the shuffle, to be honest, because if we look at the edge rushers available or who's in this edge class, you have Jared Verse, who a lot of people are high on because he's a freaky athlete. He was supposed to come out last year. He's a great story coming from Albany, great track background, all this stuff, and he's excelled every year. This year he kind of took a step back, but still within this top 10 range. You have Laiatu Latu, who's probably the best edge rusher in the class. He's the most productive edge rusher in the class by far. And then you have Chris Braswell, who plays on the other side, Dallas Turner. Chop Robinson, who I think is going to go in the first round because he's so freaky of an athlete. He's starting to fall. He's been falling down the board throughout kind of draft season as it's kind of gotten underway. And then you have Braylon Trice, who I have said I'm not that high on because I think he's a developmental guy. I've had him as a back of the first round guy since January for a long time now. But I think Dallas Turner is right up there with Latu. I really do. But again, I think he gets lost in the shuffle of things. Jets at pick 10. We're going to go with Talisi Fuaga. I think that Talisi Fuaga, I've made the argument of like the Jets are kind of in this weird spot where like ideally if you didn't mortgage your entire franchise's future to win right now, you probably want to go Olu Fashanu. I would go Olu Fashanu, but you have to win. Like, you have to win now because you don't know how long you're going to have Rodgers. I think the Jets are going to do something dumb for David Bakhtiari. I'm sorry, Jets fans, but, like, I like the Jets. I'm not a Jets hater. I want you guys to succeed. If the Giants aren't succeeding, I want the Jets to succeed. But I think that you're going to do something dumb for David Bakhtiari or Devontae Adams. But if you win, like, I'm not saying dumb as in, like, it's set in stone dumb. It's only dumb if you don't win a Super Bowl. Because people want to say what the Rams did was dumb, but, like, the goal of football is to win the Super Bowl, and they accomplished that goal. So, they could have given 8 more first-round picks. It wasn't dumb because they won a Super Bowl. If the Jets do that, and they think Talisi Fuaga is the key over Olu Fashanu, and they win a Super Bowl, then yes, it was the right pick. If they go get David Bakhtiari and he just magically stays healthy again because he's a Cinderella story and he's back with Devontae Adams, he's back with Aaron Rodgers, then it's worth it. They could give a first for David Bakhtiari. It'll be worth it if they win a Super Bowl, but I don't think that's going to happen because I think it's fantasy land. But I do think that Joe Douglas is in love with Talisi Fuaga. He does what they want to do. They want to be a power run offense. I mean, that's just like, look at what Joe Douglas came from. And I'm not saying like you bring in Aaron Rodgers to be a power run offense. That's not what I'm saying. But they want to be a balanced offense. And I could make the argument that Breece Hall is the best player on the offense over Aaron Rodgers, over Garrett Wilson, because I think Breece Hall is the best running back in football. I've been saying this since before last year. I had him in my if you go back and look at my fantasy ranking, my fantasy video before the season, I said that I would not be shocked if Breece Hall finishes top 5 because he's that good of a player. So I think having Breece be the catalyst is the way to go for the Jets. And Talisi Fuaga will help you accomplish that goal. In my opinion. This is all my opinion. Disagree in the comments. I'm putting a mock draft out there. I don't expect everybody to agree. I expect to be called an idiot. So you have the green light. Go ahead. Comment. I'm an idiot. Tell me why. You'll probably you might change my opinion, but I might push back. It's all in love and fun. Vikings at 11. I think Brock Bowers is a really fun pick here. It's not at all what I would do. But I think, like, I'm starting to think Bo Nix is going to fall out of the first round again. Because when Vegas comes out with their odds, I know this is a stupid point to make, but it's true to an extent. It's going to bait people into being like, oh yeah, Michael Penix, like the people not like us watching, me creating this video, you watching this video. Because if you're psycho enough to be watching a mock draft video, and if I'm psycho enough to be making a mock draft video, we obviously care about this a lot more than the average Joe out there. Like, how many of your friends gamble and don't give a rip about football as much as we do? Right? They're going to see the line at 5.5 and just smash the over. Of like, oh yeah, Michael Penix is going to go, Bo Nix is going to go, JJ, the top 3. It's a lock, dude. That is baiting. That is Vegas baiting them. So if that line comes out at 5.5, I'm going to be like, okay, someone's falling out. Because Vegas got to make money somehow. And I know that was a really kind of a tangent to make, but the Bo Nix hype is kind of dying down. And the reason why I'm saying he might fall out of the first is because And I'm kind of talking about the Broncos pick as well with this Vikings pick because I think they're in the same boat. They're either gonna take a very good defensive player or a quarterback. I think that it's come to light that a lot of NFL circles are looking at JJ how everybody was looking at Bo Nix. And if that's the case, and the media was looking at JJ as a second-round pick, then there's a good chance that the NFL circles are looking at Bo as a second-round pick. And we saw every team pass on Will Levis, who was a consensus top 5 player. So take this all with a grain of salt. I have Bo Nix in this mock draft, but I wanted to get that thought process rant out there because it's possible, and I want it on the record if it happens, that your boy Mike pointed you to it first. But with all that being said, I think that the play here for Minnesota is to replace Danielle Hunter. So we're going to go with Jared Verse. I really wanted to go Byron Murphy. But I think that just letting Jared Verse, Danielle Hunter walk is more and more realistic by every waking second. We'll see tomorrow. We'll see if he gets franchise tagged. I just don't think he will. I don't think he's gonna get extended either. I think the Vikings are kind of just they had success. There's 3 teams that I think about that are kind of all in the similar camp: the Giants, the Vikings, and the Seahawks. Where they all started new regimes kind of at the same time, went to the playoffs. Some won a game, some lost a game. Cough, cough, Giants. Won a game, lost a game. And they thought their timeline had accelerated, but in reality, it was an outlier year, and there's still a lot of holes in the roster. I think the Giants, Vikings, and Seahawks are all in that camp. So for the Vikings, I think just stay the course, build the roster, don't force QB. I think they're going to try to bring Kirk back, but they're making it very clear they're not giving him guaranteed money, and I don't know if that's going to force Kirk to go to Atlanta or somewhere else. I don't think Kirk's expecting guaranteed money, to be honest with you. That's why I still think that he's going to go to the Vikings. Because Kirk's a smart guy. I think Kirk is a very smart individual outside of football, and I think he knows, okay, I'm over 35. I think he's over 35. I'm at the twilight of my career, let's just put it that way, and I just blew out my Achilles. I don't expect to get guaranteed money. I think with the Deshaun Watsons of the world and all these crazy quarterback contracts happening, I think the media is kind of just running with it. And I think that Kirk is going to want a reasonable contract. I think he's going to want to stay in Minnesota, to be honest with you. I don't see why he'd want to leave. And I think that with Justin Jefferson adding the pressure of all right, what are you doing at quarterback if I'm staying here? They're going to push for Kirk. I think that's all. You could say it's theory crafting, but I think it's just logical thinking. Broncos at pick 12. I don't like this pick, but again, predictive. I think it's going to be Bo Nix or JJ. I think they're going to try to go get JJ, to be honest with you. Sean Payton said he wants to fall in love with the quarterback. There's definitely no way they're bringing Russ back, so they're going to need a quarterback. I don't see them going with Jarrett Stidham. So that's why I think they're going to be the most aggressive team to get into the top 6. If the Giants want to trade out, if Malik Neighbors is gone, I could see them dropping down to 12, picking up some extra capital. Because I think the 2 keys to getting a quarterback are Los Angeles and the New York Giants. Because they're 2 teams that are not going to take a quarterback. The Giants will take a quarterback if they could get Drake May. I've always thought that. I'm a big Daniel Jones guy, but they will take a quarterback if they could get Drake May. Only if they could get Drake May. Just knowing how this organization operates. I think the Broncos are also in a spot where they've been an aggressive franchise under the Walmart regime. They're gonna go get a quarterback. I'm telling you, they're gonna be trying to trade up, even if it's to 8. If Atlanta doesn't want a quarterback, and JJ's falling, I could see them trading up to 8 for JJ or 7 if the Titans are smart about it and they want to go kind of dance around the board a little bit. Raiders at pick 13. I think Byron Murphy's the move, man. You have Antonio Pierce, defensive coach. Max Crosby is an absolute animal. He's one of my favorite players in the whole NFL. The more I just watch him, he's getting a lot of spotlight on Radio Row and a lot of these talk shows. I think he's one of the coolest dudes in the NFL. I'm a big Max Crosby fan, and I think getting him help on the interior is only going to help him take his game to the next level. And I think Max Crosby being so good is going to help the Byron Murphy develop that much faster. I also think, in the AFC West, with Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, and whoever the Broncos get, like, you're going to need an elite pass rush. Like, that's just always good. So getting an anchor guy like Byron Murphy is a good start to that. Saints at pick 14. I think this is a godsend if Olu Fashanu falls here. Trevor Penning, you want to see more from. I don't know if I'm ready to label him as a bust, but it's definitely trending that way. Maybe he takes a step. I don't know. Pick 15 is the Colts, and I think if the board falls this way, Brock Bowers is definitely the move. I don't see that Brock. I really don't. I think what's going to happen is the Chargers are going to trade back and take Bowers, whether that be to 6 or to 12 or to wherever. I don't see them. I just don't see Bowers making it to 15. I think it's crazy. He's too good. He's too good of a prospect to fall this far. He's not better than Kyle Pitts. He's not a better prospect than Kyle Pitts. I will die on that hill. I've done some analysis. It's on my Twitter. Go look at it. I just don't see him falling this far. He's too good, man. He's too good. Seattle at pick 16. We're not going to change anything here. It's still Jackson Powers Johnson. Seattle just needs interior offensive line play, and Jackson Powers Johnson's the best interior offensive lineman in the class. He's listed as a center, but in the Senior Bowl, he dominated at right and left guard. So, I mean, he's just an absolute animal. Like, he's so good. Some people have a blue chip grade on him. I don't know if I'm qualified enough to say that, so just know that people think he's really good. Jaguars at 17. I think you move heaven and earth to get T. Higgins. I know he's going to get franchise tagged, but like, that's like, oh my God, we've never seen a player franchise tagged and traded before. Like, go get T. Higgins. I think you like, but we're not going to get T. Higgins here. So we're going to take a position of need, and we're going to take, I don't want to reach on Troy Fontenot here, who I would project he's going to play like left guard or center for them. So I went with Terrion Arnold. I think he's just fallen down the board far enough where like this top echelon grouping of corners is so good. It used to be the top 4. Now it's the top 5. Terrion Arnold, I believe, is the youngest of the group, and he's definitely viewed as the best. I would argue Kool-Aid McKinstry is still the best corner in this class until I die. But Terrion Arnold, man, Daniel Jeremiah's first mock draft came out, and if you don't know, his mock draft always has these players in the draft order based off of what he's hearing around the league, and he had Terrion Arnold in the top 5. So the league views him as a potential top. I would scale that back and say he's definitely at least a top 10 player, and you're getting him here at pick 17. Ideally, you'd want Jackson Powers Johnson, in my opinion, or ideally, I would just go get T. Higgins. Because I just don't think you're going to extend Calvin Ridley. I don't think it's going to happen. Because you have to give Atlanta a second. And I don't know if they think that Ridley's worth a second on top of the money. So it's kind of a double whammy for Jacksonville. Bengals at pick 18. I think I'm not a big J.C. Latham guy. And if I'm wrong on that, I'm wrong on that. But he just reminds me a lot of Evan Neal. And Evan Neal, we're seeing, is not good at football. So with all that, like for that reasons, I don't personally think J.C. Latham's that guy. I would definitely take one of the corners here, or a different tackle like Tyler Guyton. Hopefully, you develop him, Amarius Mims. But some people have J.C. Latham as the second best tackle in the class, which again I think is just prospect fatigue. I think if I was the Bengals, I might go best player available here and just take Quinyon Mitchell or Kool-Aid. But we're going to go ahead and take J.C. Latham because this is a predictive mock. It's not what your boy would do. Pick 19 is L.A. I think with how the board is falling, I've gone Latu here a lot. I still like going Latu here, but I kind of want to switch it up, but keep it in the realm of possibility. And I'm going to go with Quinyon Mitchell. I think you get your Jalen Ramsey replacement. He plays press man corner. He doesn't play a ton of it on his tape, but in his college tape. But he showed at the Senior Bowl he can do it, which is why his draft stock went through the roof in 1 week. So yeah. Steelers pick 20. I think I've been a big advocate of like you need someone who's gonna have an impact like TJ Watt has. I'm not saying like that's whatever edge you draft here, but like that defense either flourishes or falters with or without TJ Watt. So like I don't think that that's a safe way to establish a team, especially with TJ Watt's injury history. But I think tackle is just much more of a need than getting another edge rusher. So I'm going to go with, just to keep it different, but within the same range of possibility, Tyler Guyton. I think Tyler Guyton, I think it's pretty safe to say he's the most athletic tackle in the draft class. Is he the best? Not even close. But he is the most athletic, and hopefully the Steelers can develop him into that right or left tackle of the future. I believe the Steelers are looking for a right tackle, They're going to move Broderick Jones back to left tackle. I was a big Broderick Jones fan last year. I'm a big fan of Georgia tackles. I'm not a helmet scout, but I will give the benefit of the doubt to Georgia tackles if I have to. But Tyler Guyton is such a freaky athlete. I think he has franchise tackle written all over him if he can put it together. And by that, I mean polish his game, learn some counter moves. Just small things that people smarter than me and study offensive line players more than me have said. And I think they're people that I trust to put out that information. So I think it's safe to say Tyler Guyton will be in the first round. And I think putting him at right tackle on the Steelers is a good pick. High upside pick. Dolphins at pick 21. This is where we go now. Just plug and play pretty much wherever you want on the line. I will argue, Dolphins fans, you could push back. I don't think the offensive line is that big of a need. It is a need, but because of Mike McDaniel's system and how fast Tua can get the ball out, it masks a lot of the problems the offensive line had. I mean, think about this. You're banging the table saying your offensive line is garbage, you need to replace it, da-da-da-da-da. Tua had, top 5 passing yards in the NFL. I'm not even a big Tua fan, but, the offensive line is obviously good enough for that to happen. So I think your defense needs to get better. Personally, I think you need to add depth to the edge room and maybe get another corner. But Fontenot, I would have went DeJean or Latu here. But pick 22 is the Eagles. I know people don't like going corner here. I don't think Hassan Haskins is getting traded. I think that was all rumors. He said he never asked for a trade. But knowing Howie Roseman, and again, predicted mock, knowing Howie Roseman, knowing he likes to fill needs a year prior to when they happen or when they need to be filled, I think getting your Lane Johnson replacement makes the most sense. Because Amarius Mims is a player who has that elite upside. Definitely needs to be polished, though. So Amarius Mims, he gets to sit behind Lane Johnson for a year. Hopefully, and the Eagle, as a Giants fan, here's a funny Giants story. The Giants' backup right tackle was Tyree Phillips. He was not good on the Giants. None of the offensive linemen outside of Andrew Thomas were good. We cut him. He goes to the Philadelphia Eagles for 6 weeks. The Giants sign him back off their practice squad. He is the second best offensive tackle on the line after that, not even close. Whatever secret sauce the Eagles have at developing offensive linemen, it works. It 100% works. So Amarius Mims going there is like a dream job. It was like when Charizard went to the Char Civic Valley because he wouldn't listen to Ash. And then he came back and he was a monster. That's pretty much what happened to Tyree Phillips on a lesser scale because Tyree Phillips does not have the potential that Charizard had. Anyway, pick 23 is the Houston Texans. Normally we go Gerzon Newton here, Johnny Newton. I think with Latu here, I think that's a gamble I would 100% take. To put next to Will Anderson, you probably would have, if the medical concerns are not an issue, the reason why Latu will fall, and I think the media, when we try to predict these medical concern drops, sometimes they're understated. And I always go back to the Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah draft 2021 consensus top 20 pick. He is in the top 20 of any mock draft you want to look at from 2020. He fell to pick 53. The fall is real, especially when teams know the worth of a first round pick, the value of a first round pick. So pick 23, I'm mailing it in because Latu and Will Anderson in a division with Anthony Richardson and Trevor Lawrence, that's a scary pass rush duo. That is a scary pass rush duo. Because Latu is the most productive edge rusher in the class. It's not close. His skill set as with counter moves and footwork, explosion, processing, it's so far ahead. It was all on the Senior Bowl. Go look at the clips from the Senior Bowl. It's all there. He's so far ahead of where he needs to be. And if he is healthy, you're getting a potentially top 10 pick at pick 23. That's insane value to me. That's crazy. Dallas at pick 24. This is tough because I think you want to get a right tackle here. You also could get another corner. But I think with Johnny Newton still here on the board, I think that this is a slam dunk pick for Dallas if he falls this far. I don't know if he will, but it's the draft. Anything could happen. Packers at pick 25. If they do cut David Bakhtiari, which might happen, you have options. With how the board's shaken out, I don't know about pick 25. I think that you probably want to go corner. And with Cooper DeJean here, I've done this pick a lot. I still think it's the right pick. Especially in a division that low-key has the best wide receiver talent in the entire NFL. Because you got Justin Jefferson you got to cover. Jordan Addison you got to cover. Amon-Ra St. Brown you got to cover. Jameson Williams you got to cover. TJ Hawkinson. Sam Laporta. And then you on the Packers you have Jaden Reed. Christian Watson, who just meh. I don't think Christian Watson is anything special. Dontavian Wicks. Romeo Doubs. Tucker Kraft. And then the Bears, you got DJ Moore, potentially Rome Odunze, potentially Brock Bowers. Corner is huge in the NFC North. And having a Cooper DeJean and Jair Alexander, that's something you're going to need if you want to win this division for sure. And Cooper DeJean is just so flexible. He's a freak athlete. I think he is the all-time scorer in Iowa basketball as well. Could be wrong, but look at his basketball highlights. They're insane. Bucks at pick 26. I don't want to make this pick because it's going to change everything that I did. But I'll talk about it. If Mike Evans does not re-sign, I think Brian Thomas here is the pick. I see Keon Coleman getting buzz. I would never take, if I was GM, I'm not taking him with the first round pick. The profile, I'm a big what do you see on film guy, but sometimes when you watch the games, you're like, God, Keon Coleman, top 10 pick, and then you look at the analytics, it's why are these so bad? And then you put them next to the film, it's that makes sense. And Keon Coleman, to me, he's a lot like Kenny Golladay. It's just contested 50-50 ball. If he makes the catch, great. If he doesn't, he doesn't. He's not going to separate. He's not going to win at the route. He's not going to win at the release. He's going to win at the catch point. And that's not... Mike Evans is so much better than that because he's a much better route runner. He understands the game so much better. And I'm not saying Keon Coleman can't become that, but Mike Evans was also way better in college. So, I just wanted to throw that out there. This might be receiver if Mike Evans walks, which today was the soft deadline for him to get extended. He's now owed $7.5 million in dead cap space because they didn't reach an agreement. So, yeah. But all that rambling to say, I'm going to go with Graham Barton. I think Graham Barton is just a plug and play anywhere on the offensive line type player, similar to Fontenot. But he's so good. I just love a safe offensive line prospect because it's just such a benefit to the team. That it goes kind of unnoticed, but when your team hits on a guard, God, it's just so amazing. I wouldn't know as a Giants fan, but I can imagine. Pick 27 is the Arizona Cardinals. I think Kool-Aid McKinstry, if he falls here, and the edges you're looking at is you go Chris Braswell, you go Chop Robinson. I might go Chop Robinson, to be honest with you, but I think I'm not a big Braylon Trice guy, and I'm glad they moved him down the board because I don't think he's worth a top 27 pick. With McKinstry on the board, Nate Wiggins, even some of these receivers. I don't think they would double dip at receiver, but Chris Braswell, I think I said that already. But Bills at 28, Brian Thomas. Not much to talk about there. Because he's gonna be your Gabe Davis replacement, and he could be your Stephon Diggs replacement in a few years if he hits his ceiling. He didn't start playing football until his sophomore year of high school, so he's still learning a lot about the game, and he's already really freaking good at it. So, yeah. Dude, I think it's tough to pass Nate Wiggins here if you're a Lions fan. I know some of you guys were complaining about edge in the comments, like we need edge. I agree, but Nate Wiggins is that dude, and you guys need that dude in the secondary bad. He's better than Chris Braswell. He's better than Adisa Isaac. You could convince me to take Job Robinson, but I think I'm going to take Nate Wiggins just because he fell this far, and I think corner's just as big of a need as edge. I mean, you need edge too, but this edge free agency is really good, and you guys have, I think last I checked, you had a pretty good amount of money because the roster is just so young. Pick 30 is the Ravens. I'm glad they moved McConkey up the board too, man, because I really think he's a first-round player. He's definitely better than Adonai Mitchell, and he's definitely better than Keon Coleman, in my opinion. I think Xavier Worthy is... These two, in my opinion, Xavier Worthy should go in the first round, potentially, and Roman Wilson is a top second-round pick, in my opinion. It's interesting with the Ravens, because, like, receiver is definitely a need, but the wide receiver core is so unique in that you have Zay Flowers, who has inside-outside flexibility, but, like, where are you putting him? Odell was your slot guy. Do you want Zay to come into the slot primarily, and then you hope Bateman takes a team friendly? Because I don't know if you're going to... Was this the year to pick up his option? No, next year's his option year. Or maybe you do got to pick up... You probably won't pick up his option, but you hope he takes a step this year, and you probably keep him on the outside. I think Ladd would be your full-time slot receiver, personally. But corner is a huge need, so I'm going to go Enos Rakestraw. And then pick 31 is the 49ers. And I think edge is a big need, along with the offensive line. But Chase Young's going to go in free agency. My phone is popping off right now. Leave me alone. I mean, if you really want to get crazy and go offensive line, I could see Zach Frazier here, just to put at a guard. But he's such a good center. I don't know why you would do that. Maybe you go Kingsley Sumatia, I think is how you pronounce his name. This board got really shuffled around. I'm just trying to see who fell. I think Christian Haynes could be a first-round player, to be honest. Dang, they moved Tez Walker down the board big time. Xavier Legette's all the way at 72 now. I don't disagree with that. I think Brendan Rice should be higher. Malachi Corley might be a little bit higher. Also, sleeper, can you please add Jalen Wright to the rookie draft? Oh my God. Christian Mahogany, not going to be a first-round player, but he could play himself like when it's said and done. Because he struggled with injuries, I think, for a year, which really hurt his draft stock. But he's a good player. Love me some Bucky Irving. Love Bucky Irving. Anyway, sorry, Niners fans. I think I'm gonna go switch it up because I want this person back in the first round, and it's possible. Chop Robinson. I think you're losing Chase Young. You need to put someone next to Nick Bosa, and Chop Robinson is such a freak athlete that if any team is gonna get the best out of him, I think it might be San Francisco. Forgot where they were from for a second. It's been a long day. And then Kansas City, pick 32, or it's still Troy Franklin. I think he's the perfect fit for that offense because he'll play the Marcus Valdes-Scantling role and not be bad at it. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for the mock draft. That's going to do it for this video. Got some stuff coming down, some content that I'm working on, getting some collabs in the works. Let me know what you want to see in the comments, and let me know what you thought of your pick, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.